Is Kamala Harris's campaign for president completely over? Hi, thanks for watching. Today, I want to talk about the Kamala Harris campaign and a conclusion that I've come to this week, and I want to share my thoughts on that with you. And that is that, in my opinion, she's done. Her campaign is over, it is peaked, and she will never recover. And I have some anecdotes, I have some examples for you today, and I do want to acknowledge that anecdotes are the least persuasive thing that you can do to convince someone. So I understand that you should be skeptical about this video, but let me explain my reasoning, and I think you may agree with me by the end. Now, the first example that I have is Kamala Harris did publish a book in January of this year, 2019. And I was excited because I thought, oh, this is a popular candidate. Let me get this book. Let me put out a book review on YouTube about my thoughts about the book. And this should get me lots of clicks. This should get me lots of views because she's so popular, right? Well, I got the book. I read the book. I made the book review. I published the book review, I think, 1 week after it was released. And right now it's sitting at around 500 views or so. Now, that could be, okay. But my video book review is the only video book review in the entire world. I can't find anyone else that's done a book review about her book. And you would think that if there were some actual enthusiasm for this candidate, that lots of people would be talking about the book. Nobody cares. Nobody is interested in the book. No one's interested in the book review that I did. In fact, here's another thing along with that. Now, I'm not saying that I do file sharing or anything like that, because for the most part, that's against the law. But let's suppose I know someone that does, and they shared her book online on one of these pirate sites, and it was the only available one out there. You would search for it, and there would be one source. And that one source can monitor how many people download the book. Well, it turns out that they this person didn't record a single person downloading the book for a month after it was released. Now, that gives me an indication that people don't care about this book nor this candidate. In fact, if you were to look today, there's less than 20 people actively sharing a copy of this book online. This tells me that her popularity is manufactured, it's not genuine, it's not organic, and for the most part, people do not care what she has to say. Now, let me get to the second anecdote that I have for you, and this happened earlier this week. I went out to lunch with some friends. Someone in the group was a young, female, black college student. And I was talking to her about, hey, are you following the presidential candidates at all? She said, no. I said, can you name a single candidate? She's like, I don't know anybody that's running. And I thought, no, that's odd. This is not a person that's into politics or anything. She doesn't watch my videos. She should, but she couldn't name a single candidate. So I said, well, what about Bernie? She's like, oh, I've heard of Bernie. And I said, what about Biden? She's like, oh, I've heard of Biden. I said, what about Kamala? And she said, Kamala the cop? And I was like, I guess. She said, Kamala the cop? Yeah, black people hate her. I was shocked that this was her response. But when she explained to me that black Twitter hates Kamala Harris, she doesn't know anything about her. She couldn't pick her out in a lineup, but she knows from being socially active on black Twitter that the community does not care for her at all. In fact, if we look at polling, we see that Kamala is polling at about 4% in the African American community. That's not great when you identify as African American. And if you're not familiar with black Twitter, okay, this is a cultural phenomena that I'm not that deep into at all, but I know someone that is. And she told me that forever, this entire year, black Twitter has been against Kamala Harris, and she's convinced that black people will not support her in the run for president. Now, this is just an anecdote of a 22-year-old girl, but yeah, I think it's significant. And the third reason, the third little anecdote that I'm going to give you about her campaign being over is about the performance in the debate. Now, we've all seen that Tulsi Gabbard dunked on Kamala so hard.
Oops.
It was unbelievable. Tulsi did it in the first debate against Tim Ryan. We haven't really heard much from him since his campaign is done. She did it in this debate.
As the elected Attorney General of California, she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. And I am proud of that work. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And I am proud of that work. Innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them. And I am proud of that work. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
But let me explain why this is important. You see, a lot of the popularity that Kamala got, the bump that she got after the first debate, is when she was being the prosecutor against Joe Biden. And she was seen as tough because no matter what Democrats say, they want someone that they can see, that they can vision in their head, being on stage with Donald Trump and dunking on him. That's what they want. And so with the first debate, they saw Kamala being tough on Joe Biden. They pictured her being tough on Trump, and they thought, yeah, that's what I can get behind. I want someone that can beat Trump. But in the second debate with Tulsi going at her hard, giving 4 different reasons, she looked scared, she looked timid, she did not have a response. It's been like 48 hours, and she still hasn't responded to the charges. She's just smeared Tulsi. And when someone comes at you that hard with 4 charges and you don't refute a single one of them, that just shows so much weakness. And when people saw that, they saw what Donald Trump would do to Kamala in a one-on-one debate. They saw, oh no, we can't get behind her. She froze. She lost. She was schooled so bad, and people cannot envision Kamala doing well against Trump. And in my opinion, that's the end of her campaign. These are just 3 examples of why I think her campaign is done. And don't get me wrong, she's not going to drop out immediately. There's too much money invested in her. There are too many people from the Hillary Clinton campaign that jumped over to Kamala's campaign when she announced her run. So we have all the same people that got behind a really bad candidate last time, got behind this candidate. They don't have the best judgment, and so they'll probably stick with it longer than they should. But it's done. She's over. I've given you 3 examples on why I think it's over. 1, she put out a book. Nobody cares. 2, Black Twitter cannot stand her. And 3, she didn't have a response when she got dunked on so hard by Tulsi Gabbard in the last debate. Now, I'm not saying that she should drop out tomorrow. I don't think that anyone should drop out if they don't want to. But I'm telling you right now, her campaign is dead. And if anyone disagrees, I am taking bets. So hit me up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Peace.